I'm Dave. It's the Cyderbaby pod, and today I'm talking to Nick from the Middlenight Men.
Good day, everyone.
How are you? So you're looking well?
I feel well. I feel refreshed. Yeah, a few months off from playing many gigs. I'm absolutely raring to go now, so it's gonna be wicked.
Brilliant, brilliant. The Middlenight Men. Tell me a little bit about the band.
Yeah, so I've played in tons and tons of bands in the past. Normally playing other people's music, and people had told me to write songs before. I've got quite a lot of stories from my life, and they said it would either make a good book or a good album, but I never really had the confidence to, largely because I went to like some of the greatest songwriting schools you could ever do with some of the people I played in bands with. So I just kept them in the back pocket, and then I got together with a couple of people who had worked in the past, one being Leon from Status Quo, plays for Status Quo. And then Andy Brook, who's Quo's engineer and someone who's recorded me before with several bands. And it started off as a little self-indulgent solo project. Those guys really liked it. So suddenly it went from being me playing everything other than the drums to having a 10-piece band, a 14-piece crew behind us in in next to no time. and yeah, so I'm basically getting to live out my musical influences, which have been put into a massive melting pot that come from all over the places, whether that be the Beach Boys, Ben Folds 5, Meatloaf, Alice Cooper, the Wild Hearts, Terrorvision, and then see what actually came together when we mixed it all together. So it's this sort of heavyweight backbone, heavy guitars, heavy drums, with 5-part harmonies, 2 girls singers, 3 male vocals, saxophone, trumpet, and fireworks. So,
Nothing much then.
nothing much. Just a gentle dipping the toe into my own band.
I'm glad you said the Beach Boys, because I instantly got that vibe when I was listening to the album for the first time. And it is like a melting pot of just about everything. I was trying to think, surfer, post-punk, pop, rock.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Like, I wanted to it's not that I was ever going to create a full album when I started it. It's like, oh, I like this song, I'm going to make a song a little bit like it, and I really like this one, I'm going to make a song a little bit like that. And what came on that first record, it was a bit schizophrenic. It's like there's just everything on it, so it doesn't really sound like, when we went in with the demos, it didn't sound like a perfect blend of 10 songs, but hopefully the production kind of pulled it together. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Beach Boys, very much, it was more through Ben Folds 5, which is very much influenced by the Beach Boys as well. But yeah, I'm a sucker for a harmony. If it's got a load of harmonies, then put as much heavyweight behind it. But yeah, it's got to have those harmonies, which is why it's very much Wild Hearts influenced as well.
Yes, very much so. You released an album 12 months ago, I think February last year. Just tell me a bit about the album.
Yeah, so I thought my mum was going to buy it and that was going to be it. And I was completely blown away by the reception. We've had to restock a couple of times on the CDs. The vinyl's gone really well. A big part of it, of the album and the band, is the imagery, whether that be in film or whether it's in illustration. So if anyone gets a chance to look at the cover, it's like this sort of graphic novel, comic book style artwork. And when we were trying to work out what we wanted the band to kind of look like from a brand perspective, we kind of ended up stumbling, like a long story short, across the superhero theme. And there was a guy who I went to secondary school with. I hadn't spoken to him since, like 20 odd years, but I remembered there was this guy who existed who, on my first day at secondary school, I bought a doodle off him for 50p because I really liked it. My chip money at the time. And then, so fast forward 20 plus years later, it's like, I remember this guy. I wonder if he wants to get involved. So I got in touch with him. He put all the artwork together. It's absolutely stunning. Half of the selling point of this album is his artwork. It's so cool. And then we did an 8-month album campaign around it as well, where we released 3 or 4 videos, and we went quite over the top with our videos as well. So quite proud of that. We did it all ourselves as well. So just basically cobbling together all the favors I'd kind of tried to get into this economy of favors over the last 20 years and bring them all together. So yeah, so the album came out on my birthday last February, and it's gone a lot better than I intended it to. You know, it was for me, it was just going to be a quick album, just satisfy a bit of creativity, a creative urge that I had, but yeah, people seem to pick it up from both the public and the band, which is why we got so many band members and quite a decent following we're getting.
Yeah, you've touched on quite a huge array of band members there. I mean, you've certainly got a big sound coming out of those speakers. I mean,
yeah,
I assume that was intentional.
Yeah, it was intentional, and again, like so, one of the first bands which I was brought up on was Meatloaf, and I love the theatricality about it. And I'm a trumpet player as well, so I play for a band called Terrorvision, and I just love that sound with the horns coming out and the keyboards and the guitars, but I love the additional harmonies on top of it as well. So so yeah, as I say, we got 10 people and then very important with that, which we learned pretty early on, is we had to take our own front of house engineer as well, because when you got 4 guitars, you know, we don't want 4 guitars pumping out all the time, otherwise it just sounds like an absolute mess. And so we soon realized this, that was an area we could improve. So we brought Nathan along, who's got a load of experience across the world, and he has managed to, he also likes the whole Wild Hearts and loves mixing brass. So we've managed to get this quite cool crew together, 14 people for quite a startup band, which is a lot of mouths to feed. But luckily everyone seems to have a passion for the project, so kind of that's half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a couple of gigs coming up. I mean, the main one being Call of the Wild Festival, which is why I contacted you. But you've got a warm-up gig as well, just before.
Yeah, definitely. So Call of the Wild, that's going to be our first main stage festival show. So we're really looking forward to that. I've just basically said to Raz, right, just keep my fee and give me loads of pyrotechnics instead. And so we're gonna try and make it as much like Motley Crue 1987 as we possibly can.
Brilliant.
In 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we have a warm-up show the night before, because we won't have played for about 6 months. We just came off a tour with Wild Hearts, and we did some Terrorvision shows as well. But we live all over the country. Like Leon from Choir, he's up in Manchester. We've got a few people in London, Nottingham, Cambridge. So we can only kind of get together when it actually makes sense. It's not something we can go and play a load of venues in London every other month. So we recognise that we just need to get together and do a show. So what we've actually done is Signature Brewery in North London, in Black Horse Road. We've partnered with them. They're giving us free venue hire. It's free tickets, but we're going to be collecting for the Red Cross in Ukraine on the night. So we've got ourselves, and we've got New Generation Superstars and Borderline Toxic, who are coming along. And it's going to be a really cool chance for us to test out some of our 2022 production as well, because we're coming in with a synchronized light show as well. So we won't be debuting that at Call of the Wild, because it's just not practical, but it's going to give us a chance to basically play with a load of new toys, play a couple of new songs as well, test a couple of the Issue 2 album tracks out, which no one will have heard yet. And but the difficulty is, it's a gig in a bar, in a brewery. It's free tickets, there's loads of beer there, and we've got to get up early and come to Call of the Wild the next day. So it's going to be incredibly difficult to resist that temptation, but the Call of the Wild show means an incredible amount to us. So yeah, we were airing to go with that, so we won't be too naughty on a Friday.
We shall see. So issue 1 is out. Issue 2 you've just touched on. So I've got a little kid with a very unicorn style witch's hat just walked past the window. Right, so yeah, it's just one of those moments. Everything happens in this place. But yeah, issue 2. You've touched on issue 2. You're definitely on a new album.
Yeah, so I mean, after calling the first one issue one, there was only really one title we could go with, and then, and as I say that, you know, I didn't intend for it to be a a second album. I seriously thought I was going to put this one out. Few people would buy it. It'd be Christmas presents for the next 20 years. We sold out twice, and so now it's like, right, okay, well, we better do issue 2. So I think we've managed to find our sound a little bit more. There's still going to be curveballs on the album, but yeah, I'm feeling the pressure because I didn't have pressure before because no one knew I was writing anything,
Right.
and now we're doing it. But I have to say, I think it's better. I'm really enjoying it. There's some real festival-friendly tracks on there. So there's such a temptation to bring them out for Call of the Wild, but for the few people there who will know our tracks, we want to keep it all from issue 1. So yeah, we're filming the first video, even though the song's not finished. We're filming it in 2 weeks with a great actor who was in The Joker. So I don't know if you've seen The Joker, the latest one.
Yeah.
So there's a little guy in that, Lee Gill, who's the dwarf in that, and he was in Game of Thrones, and he's been in so much stuff. He's regular on Celebrity Juice. He's agreed to be our main actor for that. So we're bringing a dash of Hollywood into our mix now as well. So we go over to deepest darkest Wales in a couple of weeks, dress him up as a UFO and as an astronaut actually, and we found something that resembles a UFO, and there's going to be a lot of efforts and paper mache, and we can't wait to do it because it's all very DIY what we do, but everyone just gets involved. And yeah, so issue 2 is going to be great. Who knows what it's actually going to look like when it finally comes out? Probably maybe next Easter. We'll try and get a couple of singles out along the way, but yeah, we're really excited about it.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot going on here.
Yeah, I know, right? Exhausted talking about it. Just thinking.
So have you got time for your other bands? I mean, you're in Terrorvision, you said.
Yeah, so Terrorvision don't play tons, so I do have time to do that. I play in a band called Duncan Reid and the Big Heads. He was in a band called the Boys in the 70s. We're doing an album with them at the moment, playing a couple of tributes as well. So we're playing a My Chemical Romance tribute, which we were actually supposed to be watching MCR on the Saturday night of Call of the Wild, but luckily we managed to change tickets because otherwise we'd have been straight into the van off stage, rushing down to watch it. But we want to soak up some of the atmosphere at Call of the Wild and hang out with some of the awesome people who are going to be there and catch some of the bands obviously as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's tough to find time, but you know, it's all our passion, isn't it?
It'll be all good. Honestly, it'll be good. All right. To wind things up, little question I ask everybody.
Cool.
One track you've written and performed on issue 1. Which would you pick to say that really defines us?
Oh man, that's so difficult. But the first single that we released was a single called Rat Star, and it seems to be the one that everyone seems to dig, seems to love on YouTube and the socials. So we're a very hard choice, but I'd say go and listen to Rat Star.
Thank you for your time this evening, Nick. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I shall see you at Call of the Wild. Take care.
Cheers, matey.